What careers, and this is like, I want to make this like a permanent segment of the show. I want to make this a permanent. We got over 2,100 people in here, and the likes is a little bit lower than I want them to be. A little bit lower than I want them to be. What careers, and I want to make this a permanent segment of the show because I want to start deep diving. I seen somebody type in the chat. They didn't put it in the super chat, so I didn't highlight it. But the other day I seen somebody type in the chat. They said, man, what are basket weaving degrees? Which degrees are basket weaving degrees? That is a great question. That is a great question. And before I said it, because I was about to start listing a lot of these liberal arts degrees, I said, you know what? Let me hold off. Because the thing that I do want to do is I want a solution for your problems or your questions and not necessarily just attack the issue. See, anybody can rant, rave. I see blackety blacks do it all of the time. But very few people can give you the context that you need in order to continue to get into the spaces that you want to be in. Anybody can complain, but very few people can give you the solution. I see people say, oh man, is this the problem or that's the problem? I'll be like, oh, okay, so what you want to do with it? I want you to acknowledge my plight. Acknowledge your privilege. Okay, I'm privileged. Now what? And they just sit there. And that's the end of the conversation. Okay, I acknowledge I offended you. Now what? My bad. Okay, cool. And then they just feel better and they go home and that's the end of the conversation, similar to when you went to church, right? But I want to start bringing some of these careers to the forefront. And I think that there's people that do it much better than I do, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to do it here on the Millionaire Morning Show. So occasionally we're going to bring some careers to the forefront in order to add value into you. And then we want to hear what their stories are so that we can mine this out and understand exactly how this works for us or how we can use this information in our benefit. Make sure y'all hit the like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get it popping.
Growing up, I loved reading, I loved science, I loved the critical thinking behind it, and I wanted to pursue a career in medicine, and I eventually worked with physician assistants, which I thought were a perfect balance of being able to have some of that critical thinking and helping patients in an expedited timeline. I'm a certified anesthesiologist assistant, and my base salary is $198,000, but
now, a lot of people don't know that, but in most hospitals, anesthesiologists are the ones that make the most money inside of the hospital. You know, the people that administer the medicine, that put you to sleep, you know, all of that stuff. Michael Jackson's doctor. Anesthesiologists make the most money in most hospital systems. She's an anesthesiologist assistant, and she's saying that her base salary, again, now this is a woman that did not go to medical school. She's going to break this down. I have not seen this yet, but I'm reacting to it just like you guys. Her base salary is starting at $198,000, did not go to medical school, and she's an anesthesiologist assistant. Let's figure this out, y'all, because this is a career that I don't see talked about across the internet that often.
through picking up overtime overnight on the weekends, and after my shift, I pick up about $10,000 to $15,000 in overtime.
So her salary increases to over $210,000 a year. If she want to stay over a couple nights, she want to do a couple weekends, so on and so forth. So she getting that bag. She is getting that bag. Now, a lot of people want to look at the chicks in Miami and they want to go and pick up their chick from McDonald's or Burger King with that uniform on and turn her into a wife. I think that these are the type of women that we need to be looking at also.
My name is Chabeli Rodriguez. I'm 28 years old. I make over $200,000 as an anesthesiologist assistant, and I live in Tampa, Florida. I'm so happy that I went to Florida. I always wanted to live there. It had great weather. I wasn't a fan of...
Hold on, wait a minute. Miss Rodriguez, you look different without your bonnet on and your scrubs on. Can we just take a minute to give a round of applause for Miss Rodriguez when she take her scrubs off? Can we get another round of applause for Miss Rodriguez when she take her scrubs off and her bonnet off? I'm just saying, she looked different. Look, when you go to work, I get it. I get it now. You got to go to work. You got to put that bonnet on. You got to make sure that you get yourself together. You know what I'm saying? But when that bonnet come off and them scrubs come off and she still bringing home that $210,000, who said you couldn't go to work, take care of business, do some overtime, and come home feminine? Shout out to Miss Rodriguez. Hey, you see how your voice changed when you see him come out of them scrubs? Hey, what's going on, baby girl? Yo, I get it. Yeah, you got to work overtime. No worries. Listen, I can move my schedule around a little bit. Your voice changed. You went from high pitch because you was talking about tell your mama to come see me so I can lay some prayer oil on her to the low pitch. Man, I ain't even tripping off that. Word? Man, I don't know why they tripping. That's crazy. Let me get back to the show.
The New York City winters. So I've gotten to do a lot of fun things and live a different life than I was living in New York, and have a lot more space and have my money go a lot farther, and I don't have state taxes, which is really nice to take home extra money. I also have a roommate, so I have a lot of extra income at my dispense that I choose to mostly invest in stocks. And then I also put extra money towards travel back to New York because I have family and my boyfriend lives in New York.
See? Look at that. Look at Angelo. But we ain't worried about Angelo. I don't know if his name is Angelo or Angelo. She ain't pronouncing it. I'm going to call him Angelo. Let me tell you something, man. If you're not married, you're single. And he's still in New York. Hey, somebody give me Ms. Rodriguez information so we can get her an interview on the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm curious as to who she is. We ain't worried about Angelo. He's still in New York. Hey, somebody find out in this show. We got over 2,100 people in here. Somebody find out what Ms. Rodriguez's Instagram information is so we can make sure that we reach out to her, try to get her information. I'm going to get my guys on it. Shout out to Angelo.
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and my parents came from Mexico, and they wanted to make more income as we were a family of 7. So they ended up opening a business in upstate New York where they've started a farm, and they would sell at the farmers markets. We went to school in New York City, but after school and also on the weekends, we would go upstate.
Y'all said she got a YouTube channel? Send it to me. Email it to me, AntonDaniels413@gmail.com.
Or work in the farmer's market. And then during the summertime and during half days, we were always either on the farm or again in the farmer's market throughout New York City. So growing up, it was difficult, working a lot. Just commuting back and forth between New York City and upstate New York was challenging. And there were times where we slept in the car right before we went to school and they dropped us off. It was a lot of difficult conversations with my parents. However, I see that it made a difference for my younger siblings, and I'm happy that.
Is there all of this? Those are the siblings? Wow. She not even the best looking one out of all of them, to be honest with you. Interesting.
I was able to do that. The time in medical school was going to be a lot, and also the student loans. So that's why I started looking more into physician assistants, something with similar responsibilities, but with a shorter timeline, also typically less debt. I had to go to graduate school, and they were all around the $100,000 mark or more for tuition.
And see, that's the interesting thing about it is that student loan debt is not that bad of a deal. And that's the thing that people keep telling y'all and they keep finessing y'all, even though she paid for the majority of hers through scholarships, and y'all need to be a little bit more proactive in finding out what kind of scholarship you guys can get or what kind of grants you guys can get to help you lower what that burden would be as far as the amount of student loans that you could take out. But depending on what program you go into, student loans can be an investment. The biggest asset that you have is yourself. The first thing that you have to do is invest in yourself, because you need a big enough shovel to be able to throw that dirt around and then plant enough seeds in order to ensure that you get into that bag, right? But my point is this. Look. Don't let anybody say that student loans are a bad thing. Excessively using student loans in order to maintain your lifestyle or to party or to go into a degree program that is not going to pay off for you, or you don't finish school, student loans can be a bad thing. But student loans are supposed to be an additional substitute for monies that help you bridge the gap for when you're not working, for when you don't get scholarships, for when you don't get grants, if you don't have the money to be able to pay off your tuition. Student loans is the bridge that helps you continue to get to where it is that you need to be from an investment perspective, all right? So don't always think that student loans are bad. Student loans are bad if you're going into a program where you're not going to be able to pay them back and you get $200,000 a loan and you go into social work. That's when student loans can be bad. He spent over $127,000 with student loans for tuition, fees, and interest. So she wound up having $127,000 in student loans, but she makes $210,000 a year now. Probably took her less than a year to be able to pay that off.
Given that the salary would be around $150,000, but I felt like I had a realistic chance of paying it off within 5 years.
No, see, that's what she needed a man
I
in her life.
eventually put it into a high-yield savings account. I ended up just putting that money straight back before the pause ended to avoid any extra interest on my student loans.
So she paused the payments that she was making on her student loans, and she was just stacking the money. So she didn't use the money to go out and buy a Charger Hellcat, or in a lot of these women's lives, it usually is an Altima. Y'all go get that Altima or that Accord. She didn't put the money up and go and spend it. She stacked the money, and then right before the moratorium ended, she used the rest of the money in order to pay it off so that she wouldn't have interest. This woman is the type of woman that y'all need to be looking at, all right? Y'all need to be looking at these type of women. You ain't got to go overseas to go and get them. It's educated women everywhere that's willing to go and get a bag and still maintain their femininity. Anglo is in trouble. Anglo is in trouble. Anglo, if she's still just a girlfriend and you over there in NY and she down there in Tampa, hey, bag chasers, get that information to me. Send it to me. We want to have her on the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm interested in seeing what's going on out here. Paid off her student loans in 2 years.
My parents gave me an
2
allowance
years
and paid me for my work on the farm. They always had to work really hard to provide for us. And so I always remember saving my money, saving it up every time they gave me money. When I finally graduated and started making...
Somebody keep telling me that it's Anglo, not Anglo. I didn't hear the way that they pronounced the name. So I'm reading it based off of my C student understanding of what the name is pronounced like. And until they communicate it differently, I'm calling him what I think his name is called. It's called Anglo.
Over 6 figures, over $100,000. I still had a lot of that scarcity mindset of save, put the money away.
We're going to give you
never
that
really
abundance
thinking
mindset,
to enjoy
baby.
as I was saving.
I got you.
I'm trying to change that now. Currently, I'm saving about 50% of my income. I have picked up a lot of overtime, and I've been having a lot more fun this year and traveling more. So at the same time, when I have extra money, I put that aside to my...
And when you say, what do you bring to the table? This is what I'm talking about. This woman has paid off her student loans in less than 2 years. Y'all keep telling me, man, I don't want no woman at work. Bullshit. We don't cuss on the Millionaire Morning Show no more. Bull. Why y'all don't want a woman at work? What's wrong with a woman at work? What's wrong with a woman that has the mindset? Listen, the thing that we need to be vetting for, is a woman that already was able to do the things that she's supposed to do as a human being before you came into her life. She shouldn't be interdependent on you in order for her to do what she's supposed to do before you got to her. She says she's saving 50% of her income. Anglo, You ain't got a chance. $14,000 a month is going towards savings and investments. She's well traveled. She spends another $3,500 a month because she's doing what she's supposed to do. Housing and utilities is only $1,300. She minimized that in order to have experiences. She got a roommate. Discretionary income is $755. Okay, so you want to go out there, you want to trick off a little bit of money, spend it with your girlfriends. I'm feeling you. $662 with food. You are getting a little thick. We want to make sure that we tamp that down a little bit. I see you picked up some weight since medical school. No problem, though. We're going to work through that. We got you. Insurance, $146. Transportation is $39, meaning that she ain't out here buying liabilities instead of assets, and she only got $11 subscription. That means she ain't a part of the Patreon. We need to get her on board. But she's saving 50, not 50, 50. She's saving 50% of her income. 50% of her income is going towards savings and investments. I like it.
Investing. So I've hit about an $85,000 investing goal this year, which I'm very happy with. So my biggest routine expenses are my rent.
This chick is saving a gang of money every month. She's stacking. And she willing to work overtime? Listen, y'all, black women, ladies. I know it's some ladies that's out here getting it, especially bag chasers. But let me tell you something. She ain't got to answer what she bringing to the table. She ain't got to answer that.
I try to keep that low with a roommate. Rent and utilities are around $1,400 a month. Other than that, another expense for me is about $1,000 a month for travel.
Look at Angelo. And she flying back and forth to go and visit Angelo. She uses that $1,000 a month for regular trips back to New York to visit her family. Oh, her family down there, and her boyfriend trying to hold down the family. So the boyfriend is in good with the mama. I get to play Angelo. I got you. What is this girl's name? Let me rewind this real quick. Hold on. I remember her being in a chair, and she said what her name was. I gotta find out what this chick's name is. Give me a second. Shabali Rodriguez. All right, let me get back to where it is.
Joy as I was saving, and I'm trying to change that now. Money, and so I look forward to doing a lot of different travel experiences. That is a priority for me. I'm saving to go.
Oh, she only got 20 subscribers. We're gonna figure that out. And her one upload is she's singing in the church. Yeah, we'll get there.
Greece with my boyfriend in a year and a half from now. On an average day, as an anesthesiologist assistant, I can see one patient if the surgery takes 10 hours, for example.
See how they transform? She looked regular right there. She just looked like a normal, everyday woman right there. She tricking you. And then when she take that bonnet off, she on top of things.
To 14 patients, if they're very quick turnover cases. I just meet the surgeon's needs and the patient's needs in terms of the length and cases in the day. I work with needles, I drop medicines, I place IVs on patients, also needles for epidurals, needles for blocks, which would numb up local areas of a patient. For example, if they had a knee surgery, I could place the anesthesia locally so that their knee would be anesthetized, but they could.
So basically what she does is she implements whatever it is that the anesthesiologist recommends, and she makes $200,000 a year for that. She makes $210,000 a year basically executing on whatever it is that the anesthesiologist requires for her to do. That's a heck of a job, man.
Still have full range of motion of other parts of their body. My favorite part of the job is waking patients up and seeing how comfortable they are at the end. And they wake up and they are surprised that the surgery's done, that they're already awake and recovering.
And she only worked 10-hour shifts 4 days a week. Unless she want to work overtime, I like it. I think that this is a smart girl. I think that she's wise. I think that she's executing flawlessly on her career goals. But more importantly, all jokes aside, this is another career that you guys should consider in addition to the things that we talk about on a regular basis. Her career is she's an anesthesiologist assistant, and she did it with a master's degree, and she makes over, her base salary is $198,000 a year. $198,000 a year. Excellent, 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 100%.